ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. We are seeing how Adi Shankaracharya is repeatedly emphasizing the same point, and that is Brahma Atma Ekatva Bodhena Vina Mokshaha na siddhyati. That is, without the clear understanding of Atma Brahma and the essential oneness, there is no hope of moksha praptihi in Brahma Koti Shataihi Api, in hundreds of crores of cycles of Srishti. So then we saw how many upayas are there. There is Patanjali, Raja Yoga is there, then Bhakti sadhanas are there, countless karmas and yajnas prescribed in the Vedas, the karma kanda of the Vedas. There are countless mantras. So then Acharya says, na yogena, na karmana, na mantrena, na sankhyena, na, bhaktya. So if I chant lakhs and lakhs of mantras, will it remove the bandhanam? No. If I do intense Raja Yoga, asana, pranayama, withdrawal, intense tapas, also samsara will not disappear. And if I perform all these karmas mentioned in the Vedas, again, there is no removal of samsara. Why? Because one is not addressing the root cause of samsara, and that is avidya. So all these yogas and strategies are relevant at some point. They do remove some malam, some vikshepa, will give some punyam, especially the punyam of chitta shuddhi, a mature, stable mind that is ready for Shastra Vichara. But they cannot remove the cause of samsara, which is avidya. It is like, being in a dark room and wondering how to light it up. Can I sweep away the darkness? Can I mop away the darkness? Can I chant, Jyotisham api Jyotihi, chant some mantras and it will get lighted? No. I have to bring in light. So Acharya says that Ajnana Sarpadashtasya kim aushadam. For the one who is bitten by the snake-like ignorance, what is the aushadam? Brahma Jnanameva. There is only one aushadam, that is the knowledge of Atma Brahma. And then Acharya says that even if we have, wonderful talent or a skill, like the Veena Vadanam, or there is Vakpatutvam, people can talk hours and hours and give a motivational speech, very, very eloquent, yeah? Or there is intellectual expertise in some field. Once there was a Pandita who came to Anekati, and he was a great grammarian, Vyakarana. So he would interpret the first sutra of Brahma Sutras. Athato Brahma Jignasa. 3 words are there. Ataha Brahma Jignasa. Which means that now, having gained the eligibility, may one start Jignasa into Brahma Tattvam. But that very first word, Atha, he gave 108 meanings. There are so many meanings that are possible. So, Acharya here is saying that we may possess a great talent and expertise in some skill. We may be able to memorize the whole Gita. Or, there is another wonderful Sanskritam poem which you may have heard. It is called Raghava Yadaviya. Raghava Yadaviyam. And that is a poem, when we read from the beginning, it reveals the glory of Sri Rama. And when you read backwards, it reveals the glory of Krishna. So it is Ramayana in the beginning and then Bhagavatam from the end to the start. So many expert pundits are there who deliver such talks. But Adi Shankaracharya says here that all these these disciplines of knowledge, they will give some name, some fame, some wealth, some status, some awards, some recognition, some punyam, no doubt, but they cannot remove the cause of samsara. So again and again Acharya is saying what? Shastra vicharaha kartavyaha. And all these nahi nahi rakshati dukrin tarane. They will not help us get out of this bhavasagaram. Now, in the Mundaka Upanishad, some of us have seen the dialogue between, Angiras and Shaunaka. So, Angiras, the sage and guru, he talks about the two kinds of vidya. What is apara vidya? The worldly knowledge. It is all the disciplines of knowledge and the Vedas also. The Veda, the words of the Veda. And also the Upavedas, Tarka, Mimamsa, Jyotish, Vyakaranam, all these are the lesser knowledge. Then what is para if you ask? Yaya tadaksharam brahma adigamyate. That by which there is the understanding of who I really am. When the Shastra, or the Guru says, you are Ajaha, you are Amritiho, you are Ananda Swarupa, Atma, you are like the space like consciousness, indivisible. Do I feel like that? On the contrary, my experience negates everything, the vision of the Vedanta. I feel inadequate, helpless, struggling, mortal, because of that Deha Abhimana, the I notion in the Anatma. So, to bridge the gap between my Anubhava and the vision of the Shastra, what should I do? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam. Systematic, consistent study of the Shastras with a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru. That is really the medicine. Then Acharya also says just chanting in one corner, Shivoham, 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 will not give me Atma Jnanam. Because I have to understand who or what is Shivaha. No? What is the Shiva Tattvam? Then Soham, Soham, Soham. It may give some punyam, some manolayam will be there, some calmness. But again, any amount of mantras and just repeating will not give the solution. So that is what we are seeing in all this. Then Shastra, Acharya also says that Shastra Vichara is Kartavyaha. But the Shastras are like a Maha Aranyam, huge forest. And it is so vast, it is endless. No? It is said Ananta Shastraha. Then Bahu Veditavyam. And Alpascha Kalaha and Bahavascha Vignaha. So look at the Mahabharatam, 1 lakh verses, and Gita 700, and Ramayana 24,000. So they are endless. And also, Bahuveditavya means they have various angles of approach. And the obstacles are many. Bahavascha Vignaha and Alpascha Kalaha. We have only limited time. So let us say we began the study of the Shastra at the age of 12. Which is very, very rare. Yeah, still then even one lifetime is not enough to cover all the Shastras. And Vedanta Shravanam, is generally people will come when 50 plus, around approaching 60. Because before that, we are all busy with the Grahastha responsibilities. The mind is not available for that Nischayatmika Buddhi. But as age advances also, then there are other vignas, obstacles. Health becomes an issue. There is some, chinta bugging me all the time in the mind. So for all these reasons, Acharya says that we need a guru. The guru will safely navigate the seeker through this maze of mantras and shlokas, and take only the relevant essence and give it to the shishya. But again here, as we see in that opening Vedic prayer, Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahe. Saha Viryam Karavavahe means it is a joint pursuit. Tejasvina vadhitam astu. Tejasvina avadhitam astu. So may the study, the joint effort and study by the knowledgeable guru and the seeking shishya make both of them brilliant and may both strive. So that buddhi prayatnam has to be there. So that is where, Acharya says that may one not get caught up in this aparavidya, some stage of aparavidya, and may one not forget the goal and the purpose of life. Okay? So this is up to 62. Now, the 63rd verse, let us revisit it again, which is a very beautiful and important verse also. अकृत्वा दृश्यविलयम् अज्ञात्वा तत्त्वमात्मनः अकृत्वा दृश्यविलयम् अज्ञात्वा तत्त्वमात्मनः ब्रह्मशब्दैः कुतो उक्तिः उक्तिमात्रफलैर्नृणाम् कुतो मुक्तिः. So here it's an important shloka here. In the first line, Acharya says that akritva drishya vilayam. Then ajnata tattvam atmanaha. Ajnatva tattvam atmanaha means without gaining the knowledge of Atma. This is what we are doing in Shravanam. The Guru is saying, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. You are that Atma and that is the nature. But without knowing that, Atmanaha Tattvam Ajnatva, and what else? Akritva Drishya Vilayam. So that word Drishya Vilayam is important. Now, Drishya means this entire Drishya Prapancha. So, the Drishya Prapancha is the whole objective Jagat. There is an internal Jagat in us and the vast external Jagat. So, both of these Jagats are what? Finally, they are Pancha Bhautikam. So that Drishya Prapancha is to be resolved. It is a Karyam. So when I merge the Karyam into the Karanam, how will I do that? Jnanena, cognitively alone. Like the familiar example of the gold ornaments. So with the Nama Rupa Buddhi, I will see all the gold ornaments as distinct. Each one is to be worn in a special limb. One on the necklace or the bangles and the anklets, they're all different in application, different in cost and workmanship and price. But what is the unifying factor? What is the essence? Across the ornaments, gold. No? That is called Drishya Vilayam. Drishya Vilayam is merging the effect into the cause cognitively. And so, Akritva, notice the negative here, negation. Acharya is saying, but when we don't do that, when we have a gross Namarupa Buddhi alone, we see only diversity, only Namarupa Guna, then that is the samsara, being caught up in samsara. But when we do the Drishya Vilayam, then we have got that subtle vision of the one Tattva manifesting as countless features and Namarupas in the world. So, akritva drishya vilayam ajnata tattvamatmanaha muktihi na siddhyati. Then Brahma shabdehe kutoho muktihi. Just by the mere utterance of Brahma shabda, just the shabda, will there be mukti for one? Which means just an intellectual grasp. Intellectual grasp is not sufficient for the Atma Jnanam. One has to assimilate and internalize the tattvam. And that is why Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasnam has to be carried out for a length of time, systematically, without gaps, and with Shraddha, and then the clarity will come. Otherwise, it is what? Ukti matra phalaihi. For whom? Rinam. For all the human beings. It is just some spoken words. No? It's like if I utter the name of the medicine we saw earlier, The roga will not go away. I have to internalize the medicine. Then only the disease is going to go away. So all this, Guru Kataksham is very important. Yeah, Shastra is important. But then I need the sufficient Atma Kripa to internalize it. Am I arranging the priorities in my life, which is matching with the goal of Moksha Prapti? Am I finding quality time for Shravana Manana Nididhyasnam? Do I have enough Shraddha? All these things have to be taken care of and matched. Am I performing actions in the spirit of karma yoga, finding time for japa, all these things? Then everything comes together in the vision of the fullness. Okay? So that was 63. Now let's go to 64th verse. Here again, Acharya is going to give an example. अकृत्वा शत्रुसंहारम् अगत्वाखिलभूश्रियम् अकृत्वा शत्रुसंहारम् अगत्वाखिलभूश्रियम् राजाहमिति शब्दान्नो राजा भवितुमर्हति राजा भवितुम् अर्हति अकृत्वा शत्रु संहारम् अगत्वाखिलभूश्रियम् राजाहमिति शब्दान्नो राजा भवितुमर्हति. So, akritva shatru samharam agatva akhila bhushriyam raja aham iti shabdat. No, English no. Na u raja bhavitum arhati. So here the example of a Raja is taken. Who is a Raja? A Raja is Rajate, one who shines. No, shines by what light? Shines because the Raja has governance, power, status, wealth, possessions, authority. All this is why he is a Raja. Now here, but Shatru Samharam Akritva. So when one has not vanquished the enemies in the Rajyam, not having vanquished enemies, and Agatva Akhila Bhushriyam. Agatva means not having gained, not having won. Agatva. Gati root is also used in the sense of obtaining. So not having obtained what? The riches, the empire, the vast empire, the wealth. Then what is the wealth here? Bhushriyam. Bhushriyam means the wealth, the vast wealth of the world, territory. Now remember all those kings in olden times, like even Sri Rama and Yudhishthira, when they were coronated, there would be this Ashwamedha Yajna or Rajasuya Yajna, letting a horse go here and there. Wherever the horse went, that was the territory of the king. And an opponent would have to confront the king. So that is called Bhushriyam. Bhu is earth. Shriyam is prosperity. So the Raja's wealth and prosperity is in terms of land, which is conquered, and that comes into his slot. But without having done that, Raja Ahamiti Shabdat, just by the word, I am a Raja, what effect will that have? How can he be called a Raja just because he's saying Raja, Raja, Raja? There is no meaning in that. We at home, we may call our children Raja, very lovingly in Indian family, Raja, come here, Kanna. So that doesn't make them Raja. So it is used in different situations. So Shabdat, by just the word Raja, doesn't mean he's a Raja. Na u Raja bhavitum arhati. One does not deserve to become a Raja, by just the name, without the actual victory. Actual victory. So what is the symbolism here? The example, Drishtanta, is connecting to the Moksha Samrajyam. That infinite wealth, infinite limitless wealth of Moksha Praptihi. So the symbolism here is, when one has conquered the internal enemies. The Shad Ripus, we can say, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Madamoha, Matsaryam, or we can say the Malams. There are obstructing factors. One is Ragadvesha Malam, then Vikshepa Malam, then Ajnana Malam. Ajnana Malam is the subtlest impurity, standing in the way. So without having addressed all these obstructive, malam or obstructions, and without having owned up the Bhushriyam. Bhushriyam is owned up the Atma Nidhi, the wealth and vast empire of Atma Jnanam, which is the freedom. Then how can one be a Raja? So how can one be a Raja means how can I be invincible and all powerful? I will not. I will be subject to attacks and I will be subject to mortality and worry, anxiety. All this will come up because one is not a Brahmavid yet. So that moksha phalam is compared to the Rajyam in the shloka. And just by chanting a few verses of the Bhagavad Gita or mantras of the Upanishads, one does not gain the moksha prapti. So ultimately, it's all about talking about the Atma Kripa and how one has to put in the effort in the sadhana, in the Shastra Vichara Guru Mukhat. Okay. So let's look at the 64th shloka again. Akritva shatru samharam agatva khila bhushriyam rajahamiti shabdanno raja bhavitum arhati. Now there is a change of meter, as you can see, a long shloka which is in the Shardula Vikridita meter, Dakshinamurti meter. Shardula means tiger, tiger meter. So this is the long one. We will chant it 2 times and then see the symbolism. Aptoktim khananam tatho parishiladyutkarshanam swikritim. Aptoktim khananam tatho parishiladyutkarshanam swikritim. Nikshepah samapekshate nahi bahihi. Nikshepah samapekshate nahi bahihi. Shabdaistu nirgacchati. Shabdaistu nirgacchati. Tatvat brahmavidopadesha maranadhyanadi bhirlabhyate. Tatvat brahmavidopadesha maranadhyanadi bhirlabhyate. Maya karyati rohitam swamamalam. Maya karyati rohitam swamamalam. Tattvam na duryuktibhihi. Tattvam na duryuktibhihi. Very beautiful shloka here in the Shardula Chandas. And I'll chant the whole one again. Aptoktim khananam tatho parishiladyutkarshanam swikritim. Nikshepah samapekshate nahi bahi shabdaistu nirgacchati. Tatvad brahmavidopadesha mananadhyanadibhirlabhyate. Maya karyati rohitam swamamalam tattvam na duryuktibihi. Aptoktim khananam tatha Uparishila Dyutkarshanam Swikritim Nikshepaha Samapekshate Nahi Bahihi Shabdaihi tu Nirgachati Tatvat Brahmavet Upadesha Manana Dhyanadibihi Labhyate Maya Karya Tirohitam Swamamalam Tatvam Na Dur Yuktibihi. Now don't get intimidated by the length of the shloka. I had started this in the last session. Remember about how, in olden days, the ancestral property would be hidden somewhere in the ground. Yeah, they did not have banks or lockers in those days. So it would be hidden in a known spot. Yeah. And one apta. Apta means a wise person. Aptoktim, guided by some elder, some wise person. Then what is to be done? Khananam. Khananam is digging. Yeah, you have to go to the right spot. You have to know first of all where it is, and then do khananam. How will you do khananam? Upari shila dyutkarshanam. All the shila, shilakhanda, the stones and the rubble have to be removed, clearing. Hmm? Then what? Swikritam. Swikritam means then you can receive, you can own up that wealth. Okay. What kind of wealth? Which was nikshepaha. Nikshepaha means the hidden wealth. Hidden wealth is now dug out and it is now, belongs to one. Then some apekshate. Now, this owning of the wealth requires all these steps. First of all, somebody has to guide us where it is hidden, then make the effort to clear out the rubble and the stone, and then dig out the wealth and own it. So, apekshate means it depends on all these factors. Then what? Nahi bahihi shabdaihi tu nirgachati. Remember Alauddin's story? Some mantra was chanted and opens the same and it'll open. So here, will I chant some mantra and the wealth will come out by itself? No. Nahi bahihi nirgachati. That nidhihi, that nikshepaha, hidden wealth, will not come out by itself. Just by shabdaihi. Just if I chant some magical mantra, it's not going to come out. So I have to put in the effort. So far is the drishtantaha. Now, tatvat brahmaved upadesha manana dhyanadibihi. Tritiya bahuvachanam. By doing the Shruti Vedanta Shravanam, following it up with mananam, that is inquiring, reflecting, samshya nivrittihi, and then contemplating, dwelling upon the meaning of the words. By whom? By a Brahmavid. But the Upadesha given by a Brahmavid Upadesha, then that is Shravanam stage, then Mananam stage, and Dhyanadi, Nididhyasanam. Then what? Labhyate. This nikshepaha or the wealth is gained. What wealth? Atmanidhi, the wealth of Atmajnanam, that moksha samrajya, that wealth. Now, we can connect easily to the Drishtanta. How is this wealth hidden? The last line, Maya Karya Tirohitam. Tirohitam means hidden. It is not in view. Tirohitam. By what? By Maya. And we saw in Panchadashi, what is the Maya Karyam for the Jiva? Avidya Upadhi. Avidya is self-ignorance. So when there is the Ahankara or I notion in the Anatma bodies, yeah, in the Karana, Sthula, Sukshma, Karna, Shariram, then that I notion will lead to Raga, Dvesha and Avidya, Kama, Karma cycle begins. So we can say that the Avidya Maya is doing the obstruction. Yeah? It's like a veil which has hidden the wealth. So Maya Karya Tirohitam Swa Amalam. But that wealth is the wealth of Atma Tattvam and it is Amalam. Malam means dirt, impurity. So that is Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha, Nitya Muktaha, Atma Tattvam Amalam. And it is Swam. It is one's own pure Atma. Nothing sticks to it. No, it is Dharmat Anyatra, Adharmat Anyatra. Punya Papa, Vivarjitaha. So Swam Amalam Tattvam. And so, similarly here, Acharya is saying we have to do the internal digging. Internal digging is first gain the Chitta Shuddhi, Adhikaritvam, and then proceed to listening. Vedanta Shravanam, there also Buddhi Prayatnam is there. But then I have to follow it up with Mananam. And that is the real digging. When the Shastra and Guru says you are Brahma, but I don't see myself as Brahma, then I have to reflect upon it, raise doubts, consult, and do vichara. And then I have to own it up. Owning up The vision of Vedanta is called Nididhyasanam. And that removes the Viparita Bhavana. See, right now, our Anubhava may be Viparitam, opposite to the vision of Shastra. That is, I am the limitless Brahma and so on. And so, this is the wealth of Atma is as though covered. We have to use the word as though. Because who can cover the limitless Atma? Nothing. But in the case of the physical wealth, it is covered by the physical ground, the mud and everything. It's a beautiful analogy to show that this Atma Tattvam is revealed by my own effort. Yeah, effort and of course Shastra and Guru Kripa. Then the last quarter says, Na duryuktibihi. Now duryuktihi means pratikula tarkaha. Pratikula tarka means a logic that is not favorable for our pursuit. Somebody comes and says, what is there in study? You won't get moksha just by sitting in front of a laptop and logging into Zoom. Or your Atma Brahma is not available for the senses, not even for the mind. Then how can you prove? Prove to me it exists. All this is called duryuktihi. That's why Shraddhavan Lavate Jnanam. First of all, I have to have Astikya Buddhi. Astikya Buddhi means Shruti Anukula Buddhi. I have to assume, like we do in maths, a theorem, we assume that, okay, this is the premise, Atma Asti. Then we proceed to prove it by Shruti Anukula Yuktihi. Not Duryuktibihi, not by the fallacious, argumentative logic. Okay. So, this is an easy Drishtanta in the long meter. Let us chant it once again. Aptoktim khananam tathopariशिलाद्युत्कर्षणं स्वीकृतिम् निक्षेपः समपेक्षते नहि बहिः शब्दैस्तु निर्गच्छति तत्वद् ब्रह्मविदोपदेश मननध्यानादिभिर्लभ्यते माया कार्यतिरोहितं स्वममलं तत्त्वं न दुर्युक्तिभिः. Now again, Shastra will talk about the role of self-effort in the next shloka also, 66. Tasmat sarva prayatnena bhavabandha vimuktye svaireva yatna kartavyaha rogadaviva panditaihi. Tasmat sarva prayatnena bhavabandha vimuktye svaireva yatna kartavyaha rogadaviva panditaihi. Therefore, tasmat what? Sarva prayatnena bhavabandha vimuktye svaihi eva yatnaha kartavyaha rogadau iva panditaihi. So therefore, tasmat sarva prayatnena, by all efforts, by that Atma Kripa, what? For the sake of mukti, bhava bandha vimuktaye, may one do the prayatnam for the sake of moksha praptihi. And from the samsara, bhava bandham, and we know the samsara is characterized by janma, marana, aging, vyadhi, adhi, all these. So, sveveva yatnaha kartavyaha. One has to put one's own effort on the moksha marga. I have to choose to know. I have to choose to prioritize my life. I have to choose how to perform, which karmas to perform, which functions to delete from my to-do list. What to do on the moksha marga, I have to decide. And that is a kartavyaha. Kartavya for whom? Panditaihi. Now, this is not just the priests. Panditai means, we saw in the Gita, Panditaha na Anushochanti. There, Panditaha are Vivekis. Vivekinaha. So, those who are endowed with Viveka and Vairagyam, and they will, put forth this Buddhi Prayatnam, which is a duty, Kartavya. It's a duty towards yourself. So we all have so many duties, duties towards the country as a citizen, for the family, of course, we have param swadharma, duty as a neighbor, duty as a mother, grandparent, daughter, son, all these duties are there. But what about the duty towards moksha prapti? That should not be neglected or postponed. So when we keep on postponing after retirement, after I'm 60, 70, 80, and then, there is either health is fragile or there may be not be a guru, some obstacle will be there. So Shastra Vichara is once you have known what is the duty, start now, and in little portions, every time little bit. So Panditaihi, this yatnaha kartavyaha, rogadau eva. Just like the same example, a patient will be cured only if he will take the medicine. Nobody else can eat for a hungry person, and nobody else can take the medicine for a, afflicted rogi. That is the idea here. And so, with this Bhavabandha Vimukti is freedom from samsara, and the samsara is just a short word, but it means physical samsara, emotional samsara, intellectual samsara, in-laws, parents samsara, children samsara, teenage samsara, neighbor samsara, nation samsara, and it keeps on. The list is endless. The problems and problems. So Shastra is asking us to press the pause button. How am I living my life? What is my orientation and attitude? So let us stop, like they have in the traffic signals. Stop, look, and proceed. So in US, other countries, so stop and examine the pursuits. What am I doing? What do I really want? And arrange the priorities. And that is called, the yatnam, the effort, by Vivekis. So this is a simple shloka here. Tasmat sarva prayatnena bhavabandha vimuktaye sarvaireva yatna kartavyaha rogadaviva panditaihi. Now let's go to the 67th shloka. Where the guru is coming back to the questions of the Shishya. Remember the 6-7 questions, and very intelligent questions, and will praise the questions. Yastvayadya kritah prashnaha, yastvayadya kritah prashnaha, variyan shastra vinmataha, variyan shastra vinmataha, sutra prayo nigudharthaha, sutra prayo nigudharthaha, ज्ञातव्यश्च मुमुक्षुभिः, ज्ञातव्यश्च मुमुक्षुभिः. यस्त्वयाद्य कृतः प्रश्नः वरीयान् शास्त्रविन्मतः सूत्रप्रायो निगूढार्थः ज्ञातव्यश्च मुमुक्षुभिः. यः त्वया अद्य कृतः प्रश्नः वरीयान् शास्त्रविन्मतः सूत्रप्रायः निगूढार्थः ज्ञातव्यः च मुमुक्षुभिः. See how the guru is praising the Shishya's question. Do you remember the questions? Kaha nama bandhaha, kutaha bandhanam agataha, tasya asya pratishtha, katham vimokshaha, kaha nama anatma, kaha nama atma. So like that, 6-7 questions were there. Now the guru is saying, what fantastic questions these are. You're not asking about the exchange rate in the market, whether the stocks are going up or down, and the simple, mundane, worldly, world-centered questions. But you are asking, yaha tvaya adya, now kritaha prashnaha. Although prashnaha is singular, but we include all the questions. All the questions, the guru says that you have raised are what? Variyan. Variyan means Shreshtaha. is really of superior quality, the question you have asked. Yeah. And further, they are Shastra Vin Mataha. Shastra Vit Mataha. Now, Shastra Vit is a knowledgeable one, no, a wise person. So these questions are all accepted, endorsed, approved by the wise people. So Mataha, in their opinion, these questions are really very wise. Shastra Vin Mataha. So the Guru is saying that your prashnas, your questions, have the stamp of approval. They're all pariprashnas. Remember, pariprashnas is when one has thought about what should I ask the Guru, how to ask the Guru, when to ask the Guru, in what manner to ask the Guru, and whom to ask the Guru. When all this has been reflected upon, then it becomes such a Variyan Prashnaha. So the Guru is praising the Shishya and says that your questions are like a sutra. What is a sutra? There is a whole sutra literature. Brahma Sutras are 555 sutras. No? Sutra means something that is very capsulated and compact, very brief, aphorism in English, aphorism. But then there are these number of, characteristics. If we were to write a sutra, then, there are certain criteria. It should be alpaksharam. Alpaksharam means minimum letters. Yeah, minimum, no redundancy. Then asangdigdham. Asangdigdham means it should be unambiguous. It should not contradict something else already said. Yeah. Then saravat. Saravat means it should have meaning and purpose, that word or that question. Then Vishwato Mukham. Vishwato Mukham means it should be of universal applicability. See the questions of the Shishya. Or was it only meant for the Vedic period or only for the Asian subcontinent? No, it is meant for all cultures, all backgrounds, all countries, all people, all humans, of course, only, not non-humans. Vishwato Mukha. Then Akshobhya. Akshobhya means such questions cannot be challenged or negated. So this is how the Guru is praising the questions of the Shishya by calling it Sutra Prayaha. Very compacted sutra-like questions you have asked, which are defect-free. And what else? Niguda Arthaha. Gudha means secretive. Niguda Arthaha means these questions, they are filled with meaning, pregnant with meaning, with artha. So whatever you ask is so dense. And then the last quarter is Jnatavyaha. These questions should be known and inquired into by whom? Mumukshubhihi, by all mumukshas. So as I said before, the whole Viveka Chudamani is in response to these 7 questions, pariprashnas put by the Shishya. So in this shloka 67, there is only praise for the questions because they're very intelligent and condensed form they have been asked. Yastvaya Kritah Prashnaha Variyan Shastravinmataha Sutra Prayo Nigudharthaha Jnatavyascha Mumukshubhihi. 68. Now slowly the Guru is going to move towards beginning the Upadesha. And so let's see the 68th verse now. Shrinushva vahito vidvan, Shrinushva vahito vidvan, Yanmaya samudiryate, Tadetat shravanat sadyah, Bhavabandhat vimokshase. Shrinushva vahito vidvan yanmaya samudíryate tadetat shravanat sadyah bhavabandhat vimokshase. Shrinushva vahito vidvan yanmaya samudíryate tadetat shravanat sadyah bhavabandhat vimokshase. Shrinushva vahito vidvan yanmaya samudíryate tadetat shravanat sadyah bhavabandhat vimokshase. Shrinushva vahito vidvan yanmaya samudíryate tadetat shravanat sadyah bhavabandhat vimokshase. Listen to me carefully. Guru is saying, Shrinushva, avahitaha. Avahitaha means without neglect, without pramada, attentively. And how does he address a Shishya? Vidvan again. Oh, wise one. Yata maya samudiryate. Tad etat shravanat sadhyaha bhavabandhat vimokshase. Very simple again, the Sanskritam. Shrinushva. Shrinushva means you please listen. Listen to me, you know. And avahitaha. Avahitaha is without neglect. Listen attentively. Hey Vidvan. So we have seen why the Guru praises the Shishya, because he's asking intelligent questions about release from samsara itself, which is the Paramapurushartha, which is the highest goal that one can give. No? See, every guru, they are really aspiring for such students. Puja Swamiji would say, many seekers come for various ends. Some want financial help, some want medical help, some want educational relief, and many reasons are there, even marriage problems. But a guru is a Mahavakya Upadesha Karta, the one who can give the Mahavakya Upadesha and give that Moksha Samrajyam. So this Shishya has done that, and hence the Guru also addresses him as Vidwan. So Yata Maya Samudiryate. No? What is said by me? Again, Karmani Prayoga, passive. What is said by me? You now listen carefully. And then Tadetat Shrutvan Shravanat. Tad etat Shravanat. And by listening to that, what I'm going to say, my Upadesha, Sadhyaha. Sadhyaha means instantly. Instantly what? Bhava bandhat vimokshase. You will get instant moksha. Is there anything like instant moksha? Like instant 2-minute noodles? No. So it is just a figure of speech, and the Guru is encouraging and says, see, you have already taken the first step in reversing the trend of samsara in your mind. Yeah, and that is enough. You have come to moksha marga. You are on the shreya marga. Ma bhaishtaha, you are in safe hands. Moksha is assured for you. Nahi kaschit kalyanakrit durgatim tata gacchati. Krishna said the same thing to Arjuna. The one who has taken one step towards moksha, little karma yoga, swalpam apasya dharmasya, prayate mahato bhayat. Even little bit will save us from the great fear of samsara, because we have switched tracks. That is what is meant here. Sadhyaha tad etat shravanat bhavabandhat vimokshase. Lit lakara, future, the last word. Vimokshase. You will be freed eventually from the bhavasagara, if you listen carefully from now onwards. Okay, so that is a simple shloka again here. Shrinushva vahito vidvan yanmaya samudiryate tadetat shravanat satyaha bhavabandhat vimokshase. Now, let's come to 69th shloka. Now you see how Shankaracharya is now presenting the dialogue between Guru and Shishya is going to take place. Mokshasya hetuh pratamo nigadyate. Mokshasya hetuh pratamo nigadyate. Vairagyamatyantamaनित्यवस्तुषु. Vairagyamatyantamaनित्यवस्तुषु. ततः शमश्चापि तमस्ति तिक्षा. ततः शमश्चापि तमस्ति तिक्षा. न्यासः प्रसक्ता किल कर्मणां वृषम्. न्यासः प्रसक्ता किल कर्मणां वृषम्. This is in the Trishtup meter, as you can see. Mokshasya hetuhu prathamah nigadyate. Vairagyam atyantam anitya vastushu. Tataha shamaha cha api damaha titiksha. Nyasaha. Prasakta akhila karmanam bhrisham. So here again, we have known terms. So the Guru is pointing out again, referring to the sadhana chatushtayam, and says, what is the foremost thing that one must do? Mokshasya hetuhu prathamaha is to have vairagyam. That is the first step. Okay. So vairagyam we saw followed Viveka, no, in the sadhana chatushtayam, but we have to include Viveka because Viveka, vairagyam are like twin brothers. All they come together. Enhance Viveka is vairagyam. So here in the shloka, Guru says, it is said, Nigatyate, what is the foremost? Mokshasya hetuhu? Vairagyam. Vairagyam, we know, we have seen many definitions, no? Iha mutra, palabhogeshu icharahityam. Giving up the longing, the craving for any kind of future situation or palabhoga, either here or anywhere else, in any other loka, here or hereafter. That is called vairagyam. Or we saw definition objectivity, growing out. Growing out and or emotional independence. So here Shastra says vairagyam atyantam anitya vastushu. That is the Vishaya Saptami. With regard to all the vastus which are anityam. Yeah? Atyanta anitya vastushu. With regard to whatever is anityam, vairagyam. And that is the foremost thing to do. Now, what is anityam? When we look around, sun is nityam? No. Science tells us that the sun is burning itself out. No? The earth also. The earth is spinning. But the earth is also, will have an end time. What about Brahmaloka? Brahmaloka also, Brahmadev also, everything is anityam. So Shankaracharya will say, start from your home. You see, mama graham, mama putraha, mama putri, mama dehaha. Start from this anitya vastus closer at home. Charity begins at home. And then you extend it to the whole srishti. Is there anything anitya, nitya vastu here? No. Because everything is subject to Shadvikaras. Born is gone. Is gone, born, gone, born is. Constantly in flux. Drishta, nashta, svabhavatvat. Even as I am seeing, sunset happens. Then I go to bed, then morning, happens. So everything is changing. So here the Guru is saying, are we aware of this? This vairagyam, that sensitivity, objectivity to atyanta anitya vastushu vairagyam. Then tataha, thereafter what? Shamaha cha api damaha titiksha. We know all these words now. So then we need shamaha is mastery over the mind, mano nigraha, damaha is indriya nigraha, discipline over the senses and the body, and titiksha. Titiksha is staying power. Like right now, all of us, all of you have staying power. To stay and listen to Vedanta for 1 hour, definitely titiksha is there. So titiksha is that forbearance, the ability to put up with a challenging discomfort situation cheerfully. Chinta vilapa rahitam. To put up sa titiksha nigatyate. So just repeated all this. Then nyasaha. Nyasaha means sanyasaha. Renunciation. Renunciation of what? Prasakta akhila karmanam bhrisham. Totally. So, prasakta karmas are the worldly pursuits. So, may one give up the prohibited karmas and also give up the kami karmas and give up the nitya naimittika in terms of attitude. Giving up the phala ichha. So that nyasa is to be interpreted carefully. As a karma yogi, one gives up the phala ichha. Then as a jnana yogi, one gives up the kartritva, bhoktritva tyaga is also there. So the Guru is pointing out all this, these things that are necessary for moksha. Now, this is just like a preview. The actual Upadesha is going to begin. But the Guru is giving us some kind of a map, a road map. Mokshasya मोक्षस्य हेतुः प्रथमो निगद्यते वैराग्यमत्यन्तमनित्यवस्तुषु ततः शमश्चापि दमस्ति तिक्षा न्यासः प्रसक्ताखिलकर्मणां भृशम्. And now the last shloka for today, 70th. ततः श्रुतिस्तन्मननं सतत्वध्यानं चिरं नित्यनिरन्तरं मुनेः ततो विकल्पं परमेत्य विद्वान् इहैव निर्वाणसुखं समृच्छति. ततः श्रुतिस्तन्मननं सतत्वध्यानं चिरं नित्यनिरन्तरं मुनेः ततो विकल्पं परमेत्य विद्वान् इहैव निर्वाणसुखं समृच्छति. Now comes the triple sadhana. So the previous shloka was about what? Jnana yogyata. Now here Acharya says tataha, thereafter. What? After gaining eligibility, Shrutihi is Shravanam, tat Mananam, followed by Mananam, then Satatva Dhyanam, Nididhyasanam, Chiram, Nitya Nirantaram Munehe, Tataha Avikalpam Param Etya Vidwan, Ihaiva Nirvana Sukham Samrichati. So the Guru is now giving, the whole, the goal. What will happen when you go along the moksha marga, when you do all this? That is being pointed out in advance, like a, sneak preview here. So, tataha, thereafter, shruti, shravanam, understanding should be there. Puja Swamiji will say that is the most important. Listening to a guru. If you keep on listening with Shraddha, what is going to happen? Mananam, Nididhyasanam can happen at the same time. If one has that high degree of absorption and sensitivity. But generally, we will have 3 stages, no? Shrutihi, Tat, Mananam. So when after listening to a Zoom session, then we spend some time. Oh, what did Amma say today? Okay, these are the points. You can take notes. That is Mananam. Or reflect upon it. Or discuss with your Guru Bhais, Guru Bens. All that will come under Mananam. Then Satatva Dhyanam. Satatva Dhyanam is to own up, meditate, reflect on the meaning. No? How can I be Ajaha? I know my date of birth. I was born with this nakshatra and this gotra and this family. So like that, we do some reflection and then dhyana, contemplative dhyana. Sitting for a few minutes and reflecting upon the meaning of a shloka, Gita shloka or Upanishad mantra. That is called Satatva Dhyanam. How long I should do that? Chiram. Chiram means long time. But how long? Nityam. Always. Nityam is always means till I don't have doubts. If I still have doubts, then I have to continue Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, repeat it. So some students will say, I'm listening for 10 years, Swamiji, I only have hazy, cloudy understanding. Swamiji will say, listen for 10 more years. Then after 20 years, you say, I'm not still understanding. Keep on listening. So, Shravanam. So where is the defect? It must be in my mind. Something is obstructing in my mind that is not blessing me with the jnana phalam. So, nityam. Then nirantaram. Nirantaram means without a gap. You can't say I listened to Shravanam to my guru for 20 years, but every 6 months I had to visit my son in the States. Now you don't have that excuse. Online can be all the time, but then time zones are different. So if we make these excuses, my children are visiting, or there is Navaratri festival, or Sankranti is happening, Amma, I will join after 2 weeks, after 2 months, after 6 months. That is not Nirantaram. But there are ways to make up for it. When a sincere student will listen to the recording, will catch up, and there'll be a very neat list ticked off. Okay, then if you have doubts, you ask somebody, or you revisit. So that is why it is said that if any Zoom session you listen 3 times, you will have no doubts. One is right now, live recording. Then you listen once more. So a bright student will, 2 recordings are enough, twice Shravanam. But if you listen to a third time, what you missed in the live session will get registered. This happens to me all the time. When I revisit a talk, then I say, how did I miss that? That subtle point there. And then that gets registered in our thought process. Okay. So Nityam Nirantara Munehe, for this Muni, this Muni is Mananashilaha. Mananashila means very adept in doing such vichara. Then Tataha, then only what will happen? Avikalpam Param Etya. One would have gained the Advaita Jnanam. Avikalpa means without Vikalpa. Vikalpa means doubt. Avikalpa is doubtless clarity. Crystal clarity will be there. Advaita Jnanam. No more duality. That is the knower, knowledge, known is all one. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara is the one Tattvam. That is the Param Avikalpam Etya. Vidwan. Such a Vidwan will gain that. And when Ihaiva means Asmin Loki, Asmin Sharire. Even while one is embodied, Prak Sharira Vimokshana, Gita says, before the fall of the body, Prarabdha is over, one has gained the freedom, the knowledge. Ihaiva Nirvana Sukham Samyak Richati. Richati means gains. One gains the Nirvana Sukham. Nirvana, we know, is the goal described in the Buddhism. But it means moksha. Comes in the Gita also, last shloka of chapter 2. Nirvana means, imagine a flame where there is no vana, vayu tattvam is not there. It's non-flickering, steady, abiding. That is called nirvana sukham. So such a nirvana sukham, crystal clarity and atma tattvam will be gained by such a vidva. And then what? Gurunapi na vichalyate. Even the greatest challenging situation cannot shake such a person, and the person has clear understanding. Indriyateshu indriyani vattante. The Panchabhautikam body is interacting with the Panchabhautikam world, but naiva kurvan nakaryan. But I do nothing, and nor do I cause to do anything. So that's the vision. So we'll chant this one more time and close. ततश्रुतिस्तन्मननं सतत्त्वध्यानं चिरं नित्यनिरन्तरं मुनेः ततो विकल्पं परमेत्य विद्वान् इहैव निर्वाणसुखं समृच्छते। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्छते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।